So high level, talk to us about the steps to like start this for someone who's new.
Absolutely. Build to rents for co-living.
Yeah, maybe build to rent in general, but then in the back of my mind, I'm just specifically thinking about it for co-living. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing that I would do is I would look at what is the price per square foot that homes in my market are selling for, or my market or my target market. So let's say here in St. Pete, decent homes are selling for anywhere between 300 and 400 a square foot. So then I'm going to say, all right, how many square feet do I want to build? And what is that going to cost me? So I know that I've created great relationships with builders that I've gotten a price per square foot anywhere between 140 and 160 a square. And that's gross square footage. So this is where a lot of people mess up. Gross square footage means that it includes the garage too. So co-living and rental properties don't typically have garages, so you don't really need to worry about it. But if you're going to build a primary residence, you got to count your garage. So towards that, not just the under airspace. So let's say, just to keep math simple, that you're going to build a 2,000 square foot gross square foot home. It's going to cost me 150 a square foot. So that's going to cost $300,000 in build costs. And let's say that the market, be conservative, is buying that 2,000 square foot house for 300 a square foot. So you have $600,000 now that you know that this thing will likely appraise for, give or take $20,000 to $50,000 in either direction. All right. So now your variable is your land cost. That's your variable. That's your okay, this is the thing that makes or breaks my deal, because I know what houses are selling for, and I know from the builder what I can reasonably, conservatively build for. So let's go find the land. So you have to ask yourself, how much equity do you want in the property after you're done with it? And what is the end use? Is your end to sell it? Probably not, because you're trying to build cash flow, which is why the build to rent is such a great model. So let's say that we found land at $100,000. I found a parcel I can build on it. It's $100,000. So, all right, I got $300,000 build costs. I got $100,000 in land. I'm going to give myself a buffer. Let's call it 20%, a little less than that, $50,000. My all-in costs on this project, conservatively, with a stress test included, $450,000. So I know that this thing's going to appraise for $600,000. So immediately I know at a minimum I'm going to make between $150,000 and $200,000 I'm going to have in a buffer and positive equity when I'm done with this project. So then I get to the end, I get my certificate of occupancy. And I know we're just talking numbers right now. We can back up and talk about the process of how exactly and who the people need to be in place. But as far as numbers are concerned, you know that you have a $200,000 buffer there, and you're like, all right, is this worth $200K? I'm added to my net worth? Probably, because if you hire the right people, you're relatively hands off, excuse me. So then what you need to do is solve for your opportunity cost as well, because when you're doing a build to rent, it's going to take you between 12 to, depending on your builder and a permitting, 12 to 18 months. So if you were to go out and buy a house, a rental property that's already there, that only takes 2 months to rehab it, and you can rent it in 2 months, subtract your cash flow that you would have made from that rental property from what you're going to make from your new construction to make sure that your opportunity cost is not you're not working backwards. Because if it's going to take you 18 months to build this house and you're not going to get rents for 18 more months, you could be getting rents over here on an existing house. The reason why I skew those numbers a little bit, and I don't necessarily, what I also add to my opportunity cost is the savings I'm going to get from new construction. New construction is typically worth, market dependent, 10 to 20% more on resale value. You're also going to have way lower insurance costs as well. You'll have cost segregation that you can take. You could take that with a regular rental property too, but in my experience, the new construction is a little bit better. And it's just, you have a lot less maintenance as well, and a lot less problems with your tenants telling you that you need to fix things. So I add all of that in there, and it's also going to be block construction. So I know that it's a rock solid investment.
Solid.
Yeah. So
let me see if I got this straight. So basically process at a high level view. I'm going to build. I need to go see around this area of where I'm building. I need to see what things are selling for on a per square foot basis.
Yep.
So, and preferably other new construction. Like, don't just go look for crappy houses around that. Like, if I can find a new construction within a quarter mile of my little spot, like that's going to be better, right?
Absolutely. That'll be apples to apples. Yep.
Yeah. So apples to apples. I find a new construction. They're selling for $300 per square foot. I can reasonably say once my thing is built, it'll praise for $300 per square foot. I then figure out what it costs to build, and then I add my land to my build costs, and then I subtract what you're saying opportunity cost, which would be like, hey, if I didn't build this, I could just have another rental just pumping out some cash flow for 12 months, whereas I'm going to be tied up for 12 months with this, and then use that little formula to figure out if it's worth it.
That's a very like high level back of the napkin formula.
Yeah.